I thought you might enjoy a little update. I occasionally, when a top-level game is played, get blown up by all sources. Facebook Messenger, Lichess, Chessable, email, phone call, Pigeon. I mean, it comes from all sources when one of my openings is played. But I'm going to let you know right now. There is no rest for the wicked. And you know how frequently I update my things. I'm an opening psychopath. So it's like the bat signal. As soon as it's just, I have this sixth sense. I better tune in to the Champions Chess Tour today. I better make sure I'm not missing a moment of the boss. Because the boss, he never disappoints, man. Like, I just open up his games and I'm so pleased. And I wanted to share this one with you and do a little informational addition to the course today. So, bouncing these moves out, lo and behold, the boss plays the dirty, the aggressive Queen's Gambit, the Janowski. And Nakamura didn't disappoint. And I will say, in the main course here, I recommended the solid C6, but variety is the spice of life, as we know. So, this will be going in. A few notes and details, if you will. So we got knight f6 as the alternative, which is the most popular move in the database. I will say c6 scores a bit better, but sample size and whatnot. e3, and it's a common theme in both my line with c6 and the line played in this game. You play an early bishop d6 straight away, get rid of that f4 bishop, takes, queen gets a bit extra time and is on an excellent and flexible square. And after bishop d3, here is already a critical moment in one of the main reasons I really enjoy studying the boss's games. Because if you're just a prep guy, you're just sitting around doing hardcore preparation, you find yourself doing memorization. And when someone throws a move out there which isn't one of the top choices, typically there's not going to be preparation for it. And first I'm going to show you the main line in the database, and then we'll see some overlap with what Magnus played. So the main line is castles, and after knight ge2, rook e8, open file, makes a lot of sense. Bishop g4, great aggressive square for that bishop, which typically in the Queen's Gambit doesn't have a good square, not in the Janowski though, as we know. And after queen c2, you trade off the bishop, and then c6, we get the structural position that we often see throughout the course. Well, Magnus decides straight away to play bishop g4. And this has only been played in 2 games previously, and it's the main reason why I'm Magnus' biggest fan. Because I love watching how he'll play these practical moves, which set a choice for the opponent and gives them opportunities to go wrong. That's why he's the boss. He is the boss. So after bishop g4, I figure if white goes knight ge2, we have a very, very strong chance of transposing back to the line that I just showed you. But Nakamura decides to go with queen b3. And already it's a dynamic position with this next move. And it may not be the engine's favorite move, but I really, really like it as an aggressive follow-up. Magnus in the game plays knight c6. Now, after looking at the position for a bit, knight bd7 is my first choice, and it gets back to themes that are in the main course. So, for instance, I really love this subtle idea. If white decides to go on pawn-grabbing adventures, he finds himself in a situation where his woman is in trouble. And where's the babe to go? I mean, honestly, you got a headache there to deal with. So after knight bd7, h3 makes much more sense. And after bishop e6, we get a pretty standard structure. So, interesting play. But Magnus, of course, getting creative, getting interesting, knight c6. And again, when these types of moves are played, you have to look at the most critical variation first. So we'll take a look at queen takes b7. After rook b8, black just, for the price of the pawns, we get this very, very uncomfortable position for white. White's way behind in development. Yes, he does have the pawns, but black definitely has compensation as every piece is developed. Both rooks are on open files, and the action is here. So it's easy to justify giving up the pawns for play in this situation after knight c6. In the game, Nakamura elected not to grab those pawns, played h3. And after knight ge2, this thematic overlap pops back up again. Bishop doesn't have a lot of great options, so we trade him away. And after castles, we got a nice set of knights versus the mismatch of minors. And I felt an interesting try in the position here would be g4, where after knight b4 and c5, it's a dynamic position for both players to investigate, but due to king's safety, I have a personal preference for black. After castles, rook c1 was played in the main game, and now black is going to get to the standard structure. No trades, we're trying to win with black. g6, and this is opening up that g7 square for knights to be able to do work. Knight f4, rooks are meant to be on open files, and finally move 17, but the structure pops up. And that's what I noticed across all the variations. Even if you're playing knight c6, you're typically going to get this structure at some point with the c6 pawn, and that's why the game's instructive. Even if you don't play this knight f6 line and you play more like I have in the repertoire currently with c6, structurally it's the same stuff. Knight d3, we need to eye key squares, so knight e6, and after f4, knight g7, and it seems like, you know, just a roughly equal position. We're having a good time, and this is where things start to change. f5, and white's being aggressive to his credit. He's trying to make things happen, and if you're a pause your video and figure it out type of person, this is a key moment of what would you do? All right, hopefully you took a moment to pause, because Magnus goes, we're going to shut this down, and we're going to play the unnatural looking g5, but it takes away a key square, it keeps the f rook eyeing his own pawn, and that f pawn, the f5 pawn, is going to stay as something that white needs to worry about. It also keeps that c2 bishop shut down in the long term, because when he's staring at his own piece, it's not really doing much more than defending. High class defending, but defending nonetheless. Knight e5, again, not queen e7. We're not interested in trading. We want to keep the tension in the position. h4, again, not interested in trading. Keep the tension. And already there's some air around the white king. And if black is able to coordinate and say, if we could get the queen to h4, it's going to be a lights out situation. And after queen e1, this is the theme that I was looking at when viewing the game, was how can I make the attack work here? And do you see how to kick things off? All right, there was your moment to pause. I'm going to do it. Magnus plays a beautiful exchange sacrifice with rook takes e5. And this move just completely puts black in the driver's seat. After takes, queen takes. Would you like to trade? No. Trade, please? No. And after queen f2, rook e8, inviting everybody to the party. Queen e5, keeping an eye on key squares. And also, I like the immediate g3 which is very strong with queen e7, followed by knight e4. And again, we're looking for getting to that h4 square with gusto. But of course, the boss's technique is pretty much impeccable 99% of the time, so I'm not going to fault him at all here for winning. Yeah, you can't really do that. Queen e5, and after rook d4, c5, get back. Knight's great on that square. King f8, just tighten, tighten, tighten. It's nice watching somebody who is amazing do this. Rook d3, knight fe4, bothering the queen. And now back to that plan again. Queen f6, the lady's eyeing h4. I don't mind giving up the pawn because your king is stuck in a tomb. The best you can do is try to trade, but it's already too late. The hunt has begun. And after king d3, Nakamura threw it in because it's pretty clear at this point that white, in the very least, is going to have to give back mass material with a move like b5 to follow, and the king seems to be in really rough shape on d3. So hopefully you enjoyed this quick little bonus content for you. I get just as excited as the people who are messaging me when the boss plays one of the openings within my courses. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this short video. Thanks for your ongoing support, and I appreciate you, chessable people.